Hi there, guys. I'm forcing myself to come live because I've just been processing the evening, and it's been wonderful and blessing. And when you walk down the street and you actually feel happy, and I had that moment where just I don't know. I just felt like everything was going to come together, and I don't know. And tomorrow I probably won't feel this way, but it was really strange. Um, we'd gone out for our first walk, which obviously you saw, and I then got a phone call from Josie. She was on her way to see me. She has landed in a property with current boyfriends and somebody who is not so good, and she's trying to find a way out. And I was expecting Josie to turn up in a really bad way after obviously being out on the streets here in Portsmouth. And when she come through the door and she was showing me a video of Fiddler, he's so grown up. She's like 18 months old now. And I kept looking at Josie and I said, Josie, your hair looks wonderful. You look so well. You look really beautiful. And she did. She looked really, really, really beautiful. She didn't look like that Josie that was been on the streets, and she's really trying. But she's had contact today, and she's got her goodbye contact with replacements, and oh my God, there's nothing. Unless I could literally go, here is a landlord who will take you in, who will work with you, here's the property. She's got one, well, there's no reason for it to even go back to court. Josie's now got to wait until the stage that I was in, and that was waiting to oppose the adoption order. And she's got probably, they will want to have that baby settled and adopted, ready into nursery for September. She is holding in until I've explained to her tonight that what happens is they have to place. We still don't know whether or not it's going to be the current foster carers that are going to adopt her, or whether they've got placement for her. Every single one of these people know that I'm around. Every single one of these people know that whatever they do to tell Josie she can't speak to me or be around me, they know she comes to speak to me. They know that she gets her strength from here. And she's like hitting them now. I was listening to some of the recordings because she's recording the meetings, and she's really hitting them with like keywords and things that they haven't done, and she's really educating herself and learning, and she has it in her. And Portsmouth is getting it, and I've got 2 social workers here on Wednesday at 1 o'clock who want to understand my trauma. They want to know my trauma. They're coming to ask me what my trauma is. My trauma. Tonight, after Josie went, I walked off with her and James, and I went my way with the boys to do our last night walk. And at night time, I've always, usually when I'm in my break weeks, obviously I've got my nicotine addiction, which is dimps, and it's milk for the boys for when they go to bed. I don't really like my boys on milk, to be honest, especially now they're older and your body doesn't break down milk in the same way. But it's still my cycle battle of everything that I have to go through every day. For some reason, we decided to go on a different route round. I think we'd either gone out earlier or gone out later, and I hadn't hit somewhere that I do at a certain time, so we'd walked a longer way around. and I'd just come up to Sainsbury's. I was interested in the fact that the club was open, and I have a feeling that there's a bunch of students that are being used for a pilot here in social distancing and things, because they've had like the night out in the club, in the bars, which was the other day, and tonight only one club in the whole of the city was open, and they were all out in the garden, and I believe this was testing because there was a lot of people there and things and a lot of officials. I was going to grab my camera, but I thought, no, leave Portsmouth to it. There's some things that Portsmouth are doing that is, me banging my head against a brick wall. So anyway, I got outside Sainsbury's and I found my cash card. My cash card's been missing for 5 days, and I found it in my backpack in one of the side pockets that I'd put it in safe. So of course I put it in a safe place, and I knew not to cancel it. So I went to the cash machine to think, right, can I get like one of the 6-pinters? Sainsbury's don't do the 6-pinters. I can tell you how much the milk is in every place around here, depending on how much money I have, and it's all based on this. It's all, I have literally on the top here, I keep, so I've got my twos, not mine, I've got my things, and I always make sure that I've got £1 in my, on my card, because that means I can fill my petrol in my tank and make sure I've got a full, my sound is not good on Facebook, I'm afraid, and it's also this phone. I've said to you, it's always been about technology, and I'm blurred because my phone is cracked. So anyway, all of a sudden I see 4 lads talking to one of the homeless guys, and he was pretty pissed, and he was all over the floor, and he'd knocked his drink, and they were having quite a rowdy time with him, quite a laugh, and they must have given him some change. So anyway, he went, all right, love, da da da. Everybody on the streets knows they can come and say hello to me, whether I've got my kids or not. And I have had the battle, obviously, with social, but if I do join the church that I've agreed. So when we went out the first time, I ended up speaking with this woman who, I don't want to get into people's personal stories, but let's just say she moved into a flat that social didn't help her do anything. She had no furniture. She hasn't been skipping. The church have painted and decorated. The church have provided all the fridge freezers. Family and friends have provided all of the things, and she's actually got a very lovely home. I, however, have not had that help because I haven't come out of domestic violence. Now I understand why so many women leave through domestic violence channels, because otherwise you don't get help. The only way to get any help in this way is to completely fuck off with your children's father and have them put into prison or to whatever. I know that there are men who are cunts out there, but there are women who are absolute fuckers, mate, and there is going to be buttons that are pressed, and there is a massive big difference between if you sat in a prison and you listened to domestic violence people in there, you would probably say half of them shouldn't have been here and half of them should be in a very different place, and some of them hadn't done anything wrong at all. And yes, the police will tell you 1 in 4 get murdered. That's not actually statistically true. It's a fear thing. It's part of, I'm not even going to get into all of this stuff, but let's just say it's like women get legal aid if they say their fella hit them as well, and they don't get legal aid if they didn't. So there's a lot of other problems that go on. So anyway, all of a sudden I get a massive big drunken hug, and it turns out that it's Spider, who was the one who was watching Josie out the front. He looks so different. He's off the drugs, but he's drinking. He's drinking a lot and not handling it very well either. But he had different shoes on. He had decent shoes on. He had decent clothes on. He was just very pissed on the floor. He had cans. He seemed to have money. And he said to me, I hope you're not picking up your dimps. Come here, love. I'll give you some backy, right? And I said, I've got to go. I've got to sort the boys' milk today. He went, don't be so fucking stupid, love. You not want for nothing round here. And he gave me £2. I went into Sainsbury's and they didn't have the 6-pinter, which is usually about £1.50 something. So I got one for £1.15, and I got the boys the 2-packet cheap biscuits. And when I come out, the boys went over to Spider and gave him a massive big hug. And then this couple was walking down the street and they took the piss, right? And I said, excuse me. I said, but that man may be on the streets, mate, but I'm a mother, and I just said my card didn't have enough. And I said, and he's just giving me £2 to get my kids their milk, right? And he just went gobsmacked, went completely white, and he went, love, here. And he handed me a fucking fiver. And he said, I've nothing else on me, but that's just for the wake-up call. And so now I don't have to worry tomorrow. I have a fiver here, so I'll have no worries whatsoever about any of the basic needs tomorrow. I have my petrol if I definitely need it. I have hidden in my thing, somebody's put some backy in my little thing. And I have internet on my phone. And then all of a sudden, I was walking down the road. Obviously, I always talk to a couple of people that I'd seen. But when me and the boys went out earlier on and we were coming home and we were coming up the hill, there was a lad out on his skates and he was learning and he was really rocking, really learning. And I said, he had his headphones in. I said, wait, I said, are you on social media? I said, do you know about the Portsmouth skating group? He said, no. So I told him when we meet, he went, fantastic, that's awesome. I can't go unless I've got babysitters, and also it's too much for me at the moment. It is. I've got to get this body working to push it. I really need some better skates. I have to get a size 6 skates. The skates that I've got are a size 7 and they're flopping on my feet. So yeah, I definitely need 6 skates because I'm just moving around and it's taking my toenails off, and it's bruising my toenails as well. And it's making me slide on the inside. So to do what I want to do, I mean, I've just had to crack my knee in. So anyway, when we were coming back around on our last walk, he was still out and we ended up going up. And do you know what's so awesome about this crew? He was so excited to show me what he'd been learning all night on mastering. And we walked up the road with him literally going in front, and then all of a sudden he said to me, I said, right, we're on the drag. He went, yeah, I'm going to do it. And he fucking fell over. And do you know what was awesome about it is he got up and he went and did it again. Oh, I've just tweaked my neck. And my boys were in their element. They were just like, yeah. So Shiloh's now decided he doesn't want quads like mummy, and he doesn't even want the 4 or the things. He wants the tries. So he wants the 3 wheels. And even I'm learning that they can go over these bumpy pieces of twigs better than I can. But he had his knee pads and his wrist pads, and he said he wouldn't do it without his knee pads and wrist pads. So I definitely want knee pads. I definitely want wrist pads. Definitely wrist pads. I have to get the wrist pads. That's a must. Because if I do go over on my hands, I've been so damn lucky so far. But if I do go over on my skates, and it won't be a slight accident. It will be quite an accident. But do you know what? I just walked down the road tonight with such a smile on my face, with like, do you know what, Kelly? Everything's like, everyone writes in my paperwork, Kelly's worried. I'm not worried about nothing, mate. I'm not worried. I just don't like having to justify myself to everybody. I don't like walking around a city that I'm on camera at 24/7. I don't like knowing that every morning the police get me on the vulnerable list. I don't like that people watch me and survey me, and it's not paranoia, it's happening. It's going on. That's what happens when you're in the system. And it's like, even Josie is on the list in the morning. So when the police have their meeting, there's a list of people that are classed as vulnerable adults. There's people that are homeless. There's people that are causing problems. There's people that are causing nuisance. You never know. Statutory meetings are done behind your back. Education meetings are done behind your back. Your child could be having meetings about them for years and years and years that you never know about. It's not until they flag you up and pull you in that you'll know about it. So... yeah, I came down the road pushing the buggy, and I was also really worried because I was actually out later, and I was thinking, no, fuck you, it's more your mindset. I'm trying to deal with this thing with being homeschooled, that I don't have to live to your routine. I don't have to. I don't have to have my children in bed by 7:30. If we want to go out and feed the foxes at 10 o'clock, we can go out and feed the foxes. Do you know what I mean? Um, and it's so difficult to break out of that mindset that you're not actually doing anything wrong. You're not legally or civilly doing anything wrong. All you're doing is breaking out of a mindset that other people have created. So, say me as a mother decide that at 1 o'clock in the morning that we want to go and watch the Badgers, and I put my kids in the buggy, whether they're asleep or I've prepared them for it, and we've changed our sleeping pattern, or night fishing. Use night fishing as an example. So decide, say right now, here now, I want to get my kids up at like 1:30 in the morning, even 3 o'clock, even 5 o'clock in the morning, and it might be something like going down to the sea to get the boats ready, or going out with the fishermen at 5 o'clock in the morning, or it might be going out to see some form of wildlife, or to go and check the snails or something like that, or just because we just love being out when the fucking country is so damn quiet. I love street night walking. When I used to check on in the when after my kids were taken, I didn't have kids to look after, so I used to go and tuck everybody in the streets in Manchester and Liverpool and London and Bolton and Leeds, and just wherever I could train hop to, or wherever we had a demo protest or meeting, I suppose. But to break that mindset, so before I go, because I've been on a bit, before I go, so say the Western world, it's that children, doesn't matter what age they are, they go to bed at 7:30 or whatever it is, and children should be seen and not heard. And this is our Western world. This is our English, great fucking Britain. And if a child says anything that's really bad, they must be lying, because nobody, would do anything that bad. And shush and be quiet.